We talk about creativity like it's lightning, rare, mysterious, and unrepeatable. But Thomas Edison treated creativity like a factory process: prototype, test, fail, repeat. So here's the question for 2026. When AI can generate ideas in seconds, do we get a new renaissance or a new kind of emptiness?
If you can't turn an idea into a working thing, that's just talk. But if you can turn anything into a working thing, then the only question left is what you should build.
You're listening to AI Walking in the History, the faceless podcast where an AI host interviews history's biggest minds about today's biggest questions about AI, society, and power. Quick note, this is a dramatized AI-generated conversation for education and entertainment, not real recordings or real quotes. Today's guest, inventor, industrialist, and lightning rod of controversy, Thomas Alva Edison. We're talking ethics and creativity in the age of AI. For listeners who need background, you're operating in the late 19th and early 20th century, an era where invention is becoming industrial. You built labs, hired teams, filed patents, commercialized electricity, recorded sound, and helped shape the modern corporate R&D model. But you also lived in a world where workers had fewer protections, monopolies fought brutal battles, and progress often meant someone got steamrolled. So when you hear AI creativity, you don't hear a philosophical puzzle, you hear a business model.
That's right. Ideas don't float in the air. They land on somebody's desk, somebody's budget, somebody's paycheck. If AI makes ideas cheap, the fight moves to ownership, execution, and control of distribution.
And ethics, whether people like it or not, shows up as who gets credit, who gets paid, who gets displaced, who gets harmed.
Ethics always shows up. People just prefer to notice it after the invoice arrives.
Many people think creativity is pure inspiration. Your brand of creativity looked more like disciplined iteration. If you had to define creativity for the AI era, what is it?
Creativity is productive imagination, imagination that survives contact with reality. A new idea is nothing until it works, in the market, in the home, in someone's hands.
AI models can generate thousands of variations of a slogan, a melody, a concept sketch. It's like infinite brainstorming.
Sure, but brainstorming isn't creating. Creation is choosing the right problem, rejecting 999 wrong answers, and doing the hard work to make one answer reliable.
So, in your frame, AI may raise the supply of ideas, but the scarce resource becomes taste, judgment, and engineering.
And courage, don't forget courage. It takes nerve to ship something real and to be responsible when it fails.
Let's step into ethics. People argue about authorship. If an AI helps write a book, compose a song, design a logo, who deserves credit? You operated at the boundary between individual credit and team labor. How do you see it?
Credit should follow contribution, but contribution isn't always visible. A lab has machinists, glassblowers, engineers, bookkeepers. The final patent page hides a crowd. If AI is a tool, the ethical question is, did a human supply the direction, the standards, and the responsibility, or did they just press a button and claim a miracle?
So, there are levels. AI as brush versus AI as co-author versus AI as full generator with minimal human input.
Exactly. And the public deserves honesty about which one it is. If you didn't do the work, don't sell a story that you did.
Honesty and provenance.
Yes, and fairness in payment.
AI threatens creative jobs: illustrators, editors, copywriters, composers, even some product designers. Supporters say it democratizes creativity. Critics say it devalues skilled labor. What's your ethical stance?
Every big tool rearranges the workforce. That's not new. The ethical test is whether society shares the gains or concentrates them. If AI makes a company 10 times more productive and the workers are thrown away like scrap, that's not progress, that's extraction.
What would sharing the gains look like?
In plain terms, training. New roles, profit sharing, protections, and a runway, not a trap door. If the future is automated, then people need a path to dignity that doesn't vanish when a machine gets cheaper.
So you're not anti-automation, you're anti-irresponsibility.
I'm anti-laziness and morals. If you can invent new machines, you can invent new contracts with the people who live under them.
You never faced an ethical dilemma at this scale. Modern AI models are trained on massive collections of human-made art, writing, code, music. Creators say, that's my work. Companies say, it's learning patterns. From your perspective, ethically, what's happening?
If you profit from someone else's labor, you owe them something, permission, payment, or both. Otherwise, you just invented a machine that turns other people's work into your margin.
Some argue humans learn by reading books and seeing art. No one pays each influence.
A human apprentice is one person with limits. A corporation training a model on a planet's worth of work is not the same kind of learning. Scale changes the moral category.
So, ethics depends on power and scale.
Always did, always will.
If you had to propose a principle, what would it be?
If you build a product on top of creators' output, creators should have a say and a share, or at minimum, a practical way to opt out.
Another debate, AI could cause a flood of average content, optimized for clicks, familiar patterns, lowest risk creativity. Do you worry about cultural blandness?
I worry about incentives. If you pay people for engagement, they'll make engagement. If you pay them for truth, they'll make truth. If you pay them for novelty, they'll make novelty, and sometimes nonsense. AI will amplify whatever you reward. If your platforms reward sameness and speed, you'll get a world of fast sameness.
So, the ethics of creativity includes platform design and business models, not just the tool.
The tool is the easy part. The ecosystem is the hard part.
Suppose AI writes a love letter, paints a portrait, composes a song for a funeral. Is it unethical if the recipient believes it was made by a human?
It depends on the promise you're making. If you sell it as my words, but it's machine-made, you've traded intimacy for convenience without consent.
So, disclosure matters when meaning depends on human effort.
Exactly. People don't only buy products, they buy relationships, signals, care. If you fake care, you're not just deceiving someone about a process, you're deceiving them about commitment.
What about entertainment, songs, memes, ads?
The more personal the context, the more disclosure matters. When money or vulnerability is involved, honesty isn't optional. It's the whole deal.
You are known for relentless trial and error. In software culture, that becomes ship fast, iterate. But AI can harm at scale. Misinformation, defamation, biased decisions. How do we reconcile rapid experimentation with ethical safeguards?
Experimentation is fine when you're the one taking the risk. If your experiments risk other people's reputations, jobs, or safety, you need guardrails. In my lab, if I blew a fuse, I paid for it. In your world, a model can blow a fuse in 1,000,000 minds before breakfast.
So, we need staged rollouts, audits, red teaming, and accountability.
And something else, a culture where stopping is not a career-ending act. If the only heroes are the ones who ship, you'll ship disasters.
You are deeply involved in patents and fierce competition. Today, AI is dominated by a handful of firms with massive compute, data, and distribution power. What are the ethical risks of concentrating creative machinery in a few hands?
If a few companies control the tools of expression, they control what gets heard. That's not just an economic monopoly, it's a cultural one.
So, it's like owning the printing press, the stage, and the billboard.
And the schoolhouse, if AI becomes the tutor. The ethical problem isn't profit, it's dependency. When everyone depends on the same few engines to create and distribute, the engines become governors.
What would you do about it?
I'd push interoperability, open standards, and real competition, plus clear rules against deceptive distribution.
AI creativity isn't only art, it's persuasion, political messaging, targeted ads, personalized arguments. A model can write 10,000 versions of a message tuned to each person's fears. Is that ethical creativity?
That's manufacturing consent. If you're tailoring messages to bypass someone's judgment rather than inform it, you're not persuading, you're hacking.
Where's the line between marketing and manipulation?
Intent and transparency. If the goal is to help someone choose with eyes open, fine. If the goal is to get a yes they'd refuse if they understood, that's coercion with better manners.
Philosophical question. Can AI be creative, or is it remixing?
Most human creativity is remixing too, just with taste and experience behind it. The difference is humans live with the consequences.